Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I want to know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah, let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. So I don't know if many of you know, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are closing out Mental Health Awareness Month with a whole panel of folks. And so our topic is young adults and mental health. And my very special guests are all recent graduates of the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, Brittney Burrell, Austin Hall, and Junon Jean. And I'm super excited and delighted to have all three of these scholars on with me tonight. But before I bring them on, I need to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And your questions, your comments are absolutely welcome and invited. So we want to know where you are tuning in from. So if you will put your city and state in the comments so we can give you a shout out. This is an interactive live. And so we want to hear from you. We absolutely want to hear from you as we are getting ready to hear from our young adults. I'm so excited about this. All right. So I see folks are chiming in. Joketra is on. Her son Austin is on. So she's here to support. Thank you for being here. All right, we have Jovaline Belazaire. I hope I'm not killing your name, but thank you for being here. Miami, I'm from Miami as well. So Crib, LJ, Miami, thank you for being here. Kiera, West Palm Beach, thank you for being here. My sister in Miami, thank you for being here, sister. I appreciate you. Jared Donald, Jacksonville, Duval, shout out to the MHA program. Absolutely. Lee Anna Treadwell in Tallahassee. Thank you for being here. So y'all, please like, tag, share, tell folks they need to be part of this conversation tonight because it's going to be a great one. So I know there'll be other folks joining us, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guests. So first up is Brittney Burrell, who is a proud Sunshine State native hailing from Havana, Florida, with a deep passion for healthcare and service. Taking an unconventional path into health administration, she spent 15 years as a sergeant in the Florida Department of Corrections before transitioning into healthcare. She gained hands-on clinical experience as a medical assistant in emergency medicine, radiology, and dermatology before advancing into public health administration as a medical healthcare professional analyst at the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. She's a second-generation Rattler, earned her Master's of Health Administration from the Florida A&M University, where she is actively involved in professional organizations such as ACHE, NAHSE, and she and her team were fifth place finalists in the National 2024 NAHSE Everett v. Fox student case competition. So, we talking about some champions over here. All right. She is honored to be one of the first HBCU graduates and the first Black female administrative fellow at UF Health Jacksonville. And she is committed to driving meaningful change in healthcare leadership, equity, and access. So y'all help me welcome Miss Brittney Burrell. Yay! Welcome. So, Brittney, tell the people, who is Brittney? Not what you do, but who are you in your own words?
So I am I like to tell people I'm a small town girl from Havana. If you know anything about Havana, then you know that it's very true. I am just kind of a butterfly, just out here, taking a chance on myself. Took a leap to do something different, get out of my comfort zone, and follow my passion. And it's landed me on the opposite side of contentment, which is now in my happiness era. And I'm so happy to be able to do what I feel like is fulfilling my purpose. And I'm able to also help people at the same time. So I'm just in that era of enjoying all of the beautiful possibilities that life has to offer me.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Next, I'm going to go to Miss Junon Jean, who is a dynamic healthcare professional with a Master's of Health Administration and a bachelor's degree in journalism, blending a love of storytelling with a passion for improving patient care and healthcare operations. She thrives on finding innovative solutions and making a real impact in people's lives, especially after working closely with individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities, an experience that deeply shaped their perspective on healthcare and empathy. Known for being detail oriented, proactive, and always eager to learn, Junan believes that success comes from a mix of honesty, creativity, and accountability. Outside of work, you can find her teaching CPR, investing in her side hustle of being an affordable makeup artist, or pushing through a Pilates class. With a heart for people and a mind for strategy, she is all about blending purpose with action, passion with execution, and always striving for meaningful change. So, y'all help me welcome Miss Junon Jean.
Hey,
Welcome, welcome.
thank you.
Yeah, so tell the people, same question. Who is Junon? Not what you do, because I just shared some of that, but who are you in your own?
Well, I'm honestly, I like to describe myself as like a free bird. I'm always just trying to try new things, always trying to be out on the scene. I have like a serious case of FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So I'm always trying to figure out what it is I can be doing, what the move is. As like an opposite of Brittany, I'm not like a small town girl. I'm a city girl. I'm from Miami. So I just like to be just out on the scene and with the most, up to date things and the most up to date, activities and just trying new things. I like to take a chance on myself as well. So
Love it.
that's me.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing and thank you for being here. All right. And last but certainly not least, why we are even gathered here in the first place, because I saw Austin at a recent habitat build and he was like, I want to be on your show. And so here we are. So Austin Hall is a native of Tallahassee, Florida, and a proud graduate of the Florida A&M University, where he's earned his master's in health administration. With a strong passion for healthcare, Austin is dedicated to driving impactful change and promoting better health outcomes for all. He serves as a first lieutenant in the United States Army. Thank you for your service, demonstrating leadership, discipline, and a commitment to service. In addition to his military and healthcare pursuits, Austin is an entrepreneur who runs a successful e-commerce business. And in his free time, he enjoys recreational sports, reading, and listening to music from all genres. He is the oldest of three siblings. He values family, responsibility, and mentorship. And he gave me a fun fact. His favorite color is navy blue, and he spent a month studying abroad in Spain during his freshman year, an experience that helped shape his global outlook. So y'all help me welcome Mr. Austin Hall.
Oh my God, it's so great to be here.
It's good to have you, Austin. So tell the people, who is Austin, not what you do, but who are you?
Yeah. So of course, my name is Austin. I'm from Tallahassee. I really think that for me, one of my biggest things is always just trying to impact people, whether it's on a small scale or on a bigger scale. Really enjoy just the adventurous things. Also, just enjoy learning. You're never too good to learn different stuff. But I'm just happy to be on here. I love being able to kind of just spread some of the knowledge that I have. Hopefully, there's some questions or things that y'all ask me I can grow upon and answer. So, yeah, I'm just happy to be here and hopefully provide some impact.
Yes, love it. All right. Thank you too for being here. And I'm so excited that you all have agreed to be my guest today because I think this is such an important topic. And, we like to hear from you. And I'm glad that you all feel comfortable enough talking in this space. Right. So we have lots of folks on. I'm going to try to acknowledge as many of them as I can. Brittany Johnson Suleiman from Milwaukee. Thank you for being here. Tracy Gole, thank you for joining us. Let me see. Joketra, she's cheering Brittany on.
Thank
Jovaline, best friend. Let's see, Aquira Taylor. She's howling out Juju, and we got Coach Jones on here, one of the best players I ever coached. Mr. Cedric Jones, you know him, Austin?
Yeah, I do. Indeed.
Okay. All right. Yes. All right. Very good. And my mom is here from Miami. So thank you for being here, Mom. All right. So young adults and mental health. Let's dive right on in. When you all think of mental health, what do you think of?
Well, really, the first thing I think of is, of course, when you go to your physicals and your yearly annuals, they always prioritize physical health and eating healthy and making sure that you're, putting in the right things so that you can get that in return physically. But mental health, you have to do the same thing because, of course, as young adults, we're faced with a lot of things on a daily basis. You're faced with friends, family, juggling responsibilities, especially with new responsibilities that may be coming into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So mental health is really just being able to also surround your brain and your mindset around healthy things so that you can be able to move forward and present your best self everywhere you go.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
I think piggybacking off of what Junon was saying, when I think about mental health, I think about wellness. And to me, that means, kind of like she was discussing, having that balance, being able to balance all of the things in life and do that not just in a way where you're surviving, but in a way where you're thriving. And I think when you're thriving in that space, that's the epitome of mental health.
Okay. And Austin, what you think about mental health?
I shouldn't have let them answer first. I mean, what they both said is great. I really like Brittney when she's talking about balance, and then Junon kind of laying out the foundation for all the different, whether it's physical or whether it's emotional. But really, I think when you think of mental health, it's just that balance and how you are in a natural state of mind on your daily basis, how even you can be, and making sure you're doing some of those daily activities that you have. So when I think of it as having more of an even keel look, and also how you are naturally.
Okay. So do you think young adults in 2025 are struggling with a healthy sense of mental health?
Yes, and I hate to put everything on COVID, but COVID really, real, but like COVID really played like a big part of it. Like where we were supposed to be thriving, and we finally get like our big girl or big boy jobs, and we can finally pay rent in our own apartments. Like there's a huge recession. It's a lot of new factors coming into play to where we can enjoy the things that our parents or our grandparents were able to enjoy at this age. So I feel like right now young adults are really facing a different reality that we have to learn how to accept and maneuver through, because it's brand new for all of us. So I hate to put the blame on COVID, but the way people interact, social media, electronics, like being, instead of people talking face to face, people are, glued to their phones, and nobody knows how to interact. Nobody knows how to have a conversation anymore. And a lot of that plays into mental health. Community is a big resource in having healthy mental health. So it's like without that community and that community decreasing, and then everybody's struggling because we're all in the recession, it's difficult for young adults to be able to maneuver successfully, in my opinion.
Okay. No, thank you for that. And I'm gonna kill this lead to tree, and I know that's not your name, but that's what I'm seeing on the board. More students are seeking therapy. You all agree with that?
I agree. I was kind of thinking that when I heard Junon speaking, there are some instances where I think there were some negatives to us being isolated somewhat in COVID, but then there were also some positives that came from it because everybody was struggling. It was like all at once, everybody decided that they needed to turn to therapy. So a lot of people that would not have sought therapy or help in building those communities, they were kind of forced to. So in this era where a lot of people were struggling mentally, on the other side of that, which is where we are now, we're seeing a lot of younger people that are doing exactly what they need to do for their mental health. So I think it just speaks to how generation by generation that stigma around our culture and therapy is dying, and these people are actually tapping more into making sure that they're not just physically healthy but they're mentally healthy. They're reaching out more to create those communities, and sometimes that's outside of family. They're literally creating their own communities in spaces where they feel safe, and this could be between work, this could be professional networking, but they're creating those communities that they need to make sure that they take care of their mental and emotional well-being.
Love that, and absolutely agree that creation of community is, I would say, one of those coping skills, right? One of those coping mechanisms that help us along the way. Because one of the things that we do here is how important social interaction is, those interpersonal relationships, to our well-being. I have a comment about imposter syndrome is real. Navigating corporate America can be successful without losing your identity is mentally taxing. Trying to be successful without losing your identity can be mentally taxing. Any thoughts about that?
I'm gonna jump right in here because they know, like, I have imposter syndrome so bad, and and I think it was something that I heard one of the speakers at one of our graduation ceremonies actually say, imposter syndrome is not real. And I have to literally remind myself that any room that I'm in, any opportunity that I'm given, any space that I'm in, it's because I'm supposed to be there. So it's really about just reprogramming your mind to think that way. So you have to learn to counter those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And it's not something that just happens. Anxiousness and anxiety about new phases and new things that you have no idea about are real. I have it right now. I'm with this whole transition that I'm going into, but I'm constantly reminding myself that these things are not happening by chance, that all of this is a part of a purpose that was already outlined and laid out for me by God. So all I have to do is just kind of walk the path. So I think what she's saying is absolutely true. We are also faced with the reality of all of the stuff that's changing in the world that we don't necessarily have control over. And there's a sense of anxiety about that too, because we're in it, but we don't really necessarily have a say-so on what's happening. So we have to be also program our minds to handle what we can handle. So control what you control, and those things that are outside of your control, you have to let be. So learn how to be in the moment, be present. That's something that I'm also trying very hard with. Be very present. And I think that helps with the imposter syndrome, because again, I just want to remind everybody it's not real. You are supposed to be exactly where you are, and everything, every opportunity that's presented to you that you walk into is meant for you.
I love that. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. We have to walk in our greatness. Do you believe that young people really know who they are? Or do you feel like you all are still kind of discovering yourselves, finding out who you are,
I'm gonna
tapping
start this
into who you
one
are?
because I am the oldest person here.
Okay.
So, and I can speak for them. So in my 20s, I really thought that I had it figured out. I knew what I was going to do. I had my plan. I'm very type A. I'm always working on a plan. And then my plan fell apart. And it was just like, so what now? So I can absolutely tell you that at some point, at at no point do you really know what you're doing. But I do feel like there comes a point when things start to align and you know that you're on the right path. That you know that you're walking in the purpose and doing what you're supposed to be doing. There's a sense of fulfillment and ease that comes along with knowing what you're are feeling like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Now, even in that, you don't know the full plan, and you have to be open to whatever the possibilities are, because they are different depending on, I feel like, depending on the choices that you make and how obedient you are to the will of God. There are going to be different outcomes and different possibilities, and you have to just be open to whatever those possibilities are, and it'll work out. That's what I figured out. It'll work out, but I don't think we ever have it figured out completely.
Well, and I partially agree. I think that you can decide you want to go a particular way or chart this particular path, but I think along the way, as you continue to explore who you are, you really find what kind of aligns with you. And I think sometimes that also shifts as well. You know, did I ever think I was going to be a talk show host? No. I mean, nobody could have told me this like 10 years ago that this is what I would be doing. But I absolutely love this work. And I don't feel complete or myself if I'm not doing this work. Now, that may change for me 10 years from now, you know, who knows? But while I'm doing this, like, I'm so all into it, you know, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay, cool. So go ahead, Austin, what you want to say?
No, I was just saying, I think Brittney, one part, the beginning, when she was talking about when you're a little bit younger in your early 20s, you think you know what's going on and you think you have it figured out, like, yeah, I'm going to do this, this, and that. And then you're just like, oh, yeah, you graduate from undergrad or something happens. You're just like, oh, man, I had no clue what was going on. But I think sometimes what happens, especially with our generation now and with COVID kind of transitioning, with us being so isolated sometimes, we were able to look at social media and see other people, what they're doing and how this and that life is going. And we would maybe compare ourselves to them. But in reality, someone told me one time, social media is nothing but a highlight reel. So you can't really look and see what some people are doing and compare that to your struggle or what's going on, because you're just seeing the good part. You don't see the bad, what else is going on. So when you're a young adult, I think sometimes you have to have, like, not trick your mind, but also have a little mindset like, okay, this is just this, but what do I have to do? What do I need to actually get to that other side and that other step and really step into my purpose? Because just like you were saying, 10 years from now, you could be doing something completely different. When I was 18 years old, coming out of high school, I literally remember an Air Force recruiter coming up to me and be like, hey, take my car. And I was like, yeah, I'll never do the military. And now look at me, I'm in the military. So you really don't know, but you do have to kind of keep your faith and just be open and say yes to some opportunities, because you never know how some things could be a launching pad for you.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Jovaline said, no, I think life is about learning yourself in your season. I think it's helpful for young people to have strong morals to take them along the journey of life. Yes. And Joketra mentioned your relationship with God aids in that. Yes. So how important is spirituality to you all?
I mean, very important. I mean, I don't know where I would be literally if it weren't for my spirituality and my relationship with God. I feel like, you know, at times, of course, we all fall short. So, you know, if I could be honest, I feel like, you know, I find myself feeling guilty and I kind of stray a little bit. Just off of guilt, but I shouldn't even feel guilty because that's not even the type of God that I serve. But I wouldn't even be where I am. Like Austin mentioned just prior to this, you have to be open to opportunities and say yes to opportunities that you don't even expect to say yes to. And I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have God guiding me. And literally, when I look back on my story in my life, literally God placed, seeds for me to go along and walk along for me to even end up where I am today. So it's like when I think about 10 years from now, I actually get excited, to a point where before I would be like, when I was in my early 20s, I would be a little nervous. Like, oh my gosh, 10 years from now, like I'm almost be 30. Like, oh my gosh. But now I'm like, but now I'm like, you know what, 10 years from now, I'm going to be like even more successful. I'm going to be even, more wealthier. And I'm going to be even in an even better situation than I am now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think without God, I would not have, I owe him everything. I owe him all my success. So it's very important to me.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for answering that. So, also, you mentioned comparisons. Do you think that young adults are really concerned about what other people are doing, or really comparing, themselves to others often, and feeling like they're missing out, on something because they see what other people are doing and they're not doing that, or maybe they um, wish that they were at a particular point in their lives, but they aren't quite there yet. So, anybody, any thoughts on that?
I
I
don't even think
definitely.
it's, oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I definitely agree. I think that sometimes adults can compare themselves and look at people and think that they're supposed to be in a certain spot or position just because they might see us and be like, well, I should be doing this, or I should have this and that, or I should have my doctorate by now, or I should have this job and this by now. And sometimes you really just have to stop and slow down and just enjoy where you're at and kind of just realize, okay, the season I'm in right now, I probably should enjoy it, because you never know, you might miss it once you get in or step into another realm or area. And I definitely think, like Ju said earlier when she was introducing herself, people definitely have a fear of missing out. I definitely do too. I know
Mm-hmm.
there were some festivals and things that go on. I'll be like, man, I want to be there, but you're just like, I can't be there right now. I got something else to attend or handle. So I think a lot of the stuff with social media is kind of played into that, where you have access to so many people. Like if I go on my phone, I could probably interact with someone from California or something like that. At some point, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, as humans, are we really supposed to have this much access to people? Like, are we really supposed to?
No.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, I don't even think it's intentional anymore. I think it's like our subconscious now, because it's so ingrained into everybody's daily lives that nobody's going on Instagram trying to intentionally compare themselves. But it's like, of course, once you open up the app and then you see this person's in India and then this person, is having a, grand wedding, it's kind of like, dang, like, should I be at that point right now? So I don't even think, I think it's part of the culture now. I don't even think it's people trying to compare. I think it's just subconsciously, unless you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go on the social media fast, or I'm going to be away from social media, it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So really quick, my son just joined. He's in New York City. Jabari Butler, thank you for being here. He also says that comparison is the thief of joy. Also, Joeline says the same thing. Joketra said, Amen, Austin. The Bible says that he can't make you ruler over much if you are not grateful over the little. So stay present and be thankful for where you are.
Amen.
All right, nice. So, are you all feeling more comfortable in the various seasons of life that you're in? Brittany talks about enjoy the season. So, are you feeling that? Are you sensing that? Or are you anxious or uptight about things?
I'm being more, making myself more aware of trying to enjoy the moment.
Okay.
Um, I I'm one of those people that feel like you have to celebrate every win, and that trains my brain to be present in whatever the moment or the season that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like they were speaking about, like milestones and timelines and stuff like that. I try to not focus on those so that I can enjoy the season I'm in, because if you're always looking to what's next, then you really steal the joy and the pleasure of the moment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And society is always moving the goalposts. So if you let society decide what success should look like for you, what you should be doing by this point or whatever, it'll constantly be a race that you'll never win.
Hmm.
So, setting those milestones and timelines for yourself around your values and your morals and the things that are important to you kind of help you to be in those moments, enjoy those moments when they happen, and really, like you say, enjoy that moment and that season that you're in. And
Hmm.
that's what I've tried to focus myself in my mind on more.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's all really great. So we are about halfway through our conversation. So for those of you who may be just tuning in, we are talking young adults and mental health, closing out Mental Health Awareness Month. I have Brittney Burrell, Austin Hall, and Junon Jean, and we are in a great conversation about what mental health is for them. We've talked about comparisons. We talked about imposter system. We talked about syndrome. We talked about spiritual wellness and spirituality, and just being present, which can be difficult to do sometimes, right? Because we are maybe have some expectations of ourselves or things that we desire to do, but just it hasn't come to pass as of yet. And delay doesn't necessarily mean denied, right?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm,
Man.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So one of the other things that we also talked about um, before the show was childhood experiences, and how sometimes and this is not just young adults, but adults, period, have a difficult time letting go of maybe some adverse childhood experiences that they've had. And so, any thoughts around maybe some traumatic experiences from childhood that again, may be difficult to let go. And I mentioned this from the standpoint of recognizing that those untreated trauma, adverse childhood experiences that we don't deal with in terms of doing the work and healing from them follow us into adulthood. Okay. So any thoughts around that?
I think it definitely has long term effects.
Okay.
And a lot of times, some of the effects we don't realize until we're in situations that evoke certain emotions and responses from us.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be relationships. It could be, and these could be personal relationships. These could be professional relationships
Mm-hmm.
that evoke these responses that you don't know what causes it, what's the root cause of it. And
Yeah.
unless we do therapy, we don't realize those things that are still affecting us, those
Mm.
things that are still triggering us.
Yes.
And like I think how we spoke earlier, there has always been this stigma around our culture and mental health and therapy, but generation by generation, we're getting away from that. So I do think that a lot of people are healing the parts of them that have been, bruised and traumatized, and it's creating a better culture generation by generation.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely think it's up to us to even, I don't care how old you are. It's your responsibility to call it out, recognize it, and do the work to rectify it and correct it.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be setting healthy boundaries with um, people or things that trigger you. It could just be vocalizing it and being able to communicate those things so that the people around you that are in relationship with you know how to help you navigate these things. A lot of times we get quiet about things because we don't understand the importance of speaking them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to, but again, it starts with therapy, because if you don't have the tools and know exactly how to allow people to help you and speak exactly what you need, then you can't start that process.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that sometimes young adults have a difficult time naming what might be going on with them, or putting their finger on kind of what it is that's happening within them, mentally, emotionally, what have you. Do you think that, sometimes there's just a difficult time in naming the thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So your brain, as amazing and phenomenal as your brain is, your brain can also trick you to the point where your thoughts aren't even yours, and you're just like, you have all this stuff coming in and
Mm,
you don't know how to decipher what's going on. So I definitely think
mm,
there's times when you're like, what's going on? Why do I feel like this? Or why is this happening? You just have to kind of like just stop and just take a breath, because emotions are going to happen. You can't control every single one of your thoughts, but you can control if you let them register and if you let them stay there. So
yeah,
it's kind of important to just stop and be like, is this coming from me? Is this coming
yeah,
from a negative position, the adversary? Like, what is this really? And then once you're able to do that, you'd be like, okay. And that just might be having some type of way that you cope. It could just be doing something that you know that you enjoy, or just like sitting, not like isolated for a long period of time, but maybe just like understanding what's going on.
yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I want to pause because I see Dr. Anika Fields has joined us. She is the director of the FAMU Counseling Center. Thank you for being here, Dr. Fields. We got bullying can definitely be traumatic. Absolutely. Anybody experience any bullying or?
Yes, gee, middle school was like brutal for me. So
I
I
remember
can,
you. I remember you
I
telling
can
us about
yeah,
your.
like, I can definitely agree. It definitely messes with your confidence. Luckily
Mhm.
for me, whenever I stepped into, undergrad, I was able to make friends that really supported not only who I was, but what I wanted to do. And I was able to build confidence from that point. But I really feel like it did hold me back from a lot of opportunities in the past because of the fact that I wasn't confident and I didn't want to speak up and I didn't want to, be seen as that girl again. And, I'm in my own head because of what people put on me in the past and not because of who I am today. So I've luckily, thank God, been able to move away from that. Yeah, Joveline knows we survived it. She was there too. She was there too. But luckily we're able to move away from that. And now we're, beautiful young ladies, confident. But at the time, especially when you're maneuvering new places and trying new things, it could be very intimidating because you think everybody's thinking that of you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Jubilee also mentioned people pleasing and not speaking up because some children constantly are told, do as you are told and don't, and not to talk back. So I know that it has been prevalent, especially, I can't speak to white households, but yes, it is, what happens in my house stays in my house, and do as I say, not as I do.
And I think that goes back to we're growing with mental maturity and emotional maturity, and even communication,
Mhm,
generation from generation, because a lot of times now parents are teaching their children to use their words. i'm
mhm,
I'm caught off guard a lot of times by the way that these children communicate. They
mhm.
communicate better than some adults,
Mhm.
especially in situations where they're upset and they're angry. And a lot of times it's because they're starting so young now in school, teaching them about meditation and journaling and things of that nature. So they're getting introduced to these tools to be able to communicate their emotions in a much better way. So
Yeah.
I think we're moving in the right direction, and a lot of it has to do with this new generation and how they are approaching parenting and
Mhm.
communication with their children.
Absolutely. Britt said, as Brittany said, you have to do the work. I think every kid experiences bullying to some extent, but it builds character. Communication is key. Thank you for sharing that. So, I think it was Austin may have mentioned isolation, which is something else that we talked about prior to the broadcast. So, social isolation in particular, and of course, COVID was a huge culprit of that. So, any thoughts around isolation and mental health?
Well,
and young adults?
for me, I would say yes, COVID did play a huge part in that. We were kind of forced into isolation, even to the point now, like Junon said a little bit earlier, some people don't even know how to interact with people. And I think that's because some people got, Brittney, don't look like that.
What is Brittney doing over there?
But sometimes I think we had such a long period to where people were forced to just interact on a social media or just through the phone that I don't want to say we forgot, but some of those motor skills really just weren't the same, and you weren't able, because as humans, we're not meant to just be isolated like that. Like that's not how it, even if you are more of an introvert or you have more of that phlegmatic, melancholy type of personality where you're in your head and you're thinking more or want to be away, you still need some type of human interaction, even if that's like going to the gym or I'm out to eat with maybe just one friend or a couple people, or you see your family. But being by yourself for an extended period of time can kind of cause you to be in your head to the point where you might think of some of those, have those negative thoughts, or you might have stuff go on. You're like, yeah, this, and this, or I have to do this in a way. But if you were actually with people or doing more stuff, your brain wouldn't even be thinking about that. It would just be thinking about either the good times or what you have to accomplish.
Listen, I know, I tell them all the time, people don't know how to communicate. People don't know how to just have a regular conversation. You invite people somewhere, and it's like, and as somebody whose social battery dies very fast, I at least know how to, be in a setting and interact with people. And you think it would be second nature, but it's really not. And I don't know if it's because of COVID. I don't know what it is. But I think people have to understand how important community is. Yeah. And that's not just for like your personal relationships, for your mental health, for one, because if you isolate yourself, you start to have those feelings of anxiety, loneliness, and then depression and all of these other things start creeping in. So it's important to have that social interaction. And that could be something as simple as being intentional about it. Setting I tell them all the time, we're going to have monthly outings, because if not, I won't see y'all. So we put something on the calendar. If it's something as simple as making sure you send a text, or like in your group chat or something, like, hey, how's everybody? Send an emoji. Let us know something. But being intentional about stuff like that, and I agree, having a safe space in a village that you can reach out to you, and nobody's saying you have to have 50 million friends, but you do need to have some people outside of yourself, so that when you do when life happens and you do fall into those spaces where you need people, you have that community to fall back on and reach out to. So yeah, I think that's extremely important, and I think people need to understand the importance of that.
Agreed. A lot of people suffer in silence as a result. Yes, Miss Neo Soul, thank you for that. So a few more folks have joined us. Marlene, thank you for being here. And I miss my classmate Stephen Simpkins, who is in Gadsden County, as well as Miss Donda, who was here as well. I missed it, but because there's so many folks on this live tonight, but I'm glad about it. All right. So let's see. Kiki Lee is in the house. She's a clinician in Gadsden as well. She said the pandemic and witnessing tragic acts in our communities and country has significantly contributed to anxiety and isolation, even for you. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Kiki. So what do y'all think about that?
I agree. I think all of the stuff that is happening politically, socially, like culturally for us. Social media, like Austin was saying earlier, we have access to so much stuff. And while we have access to a lot of positive things, we also have access to a lot of negative things. And sometimes, even myself, it makes me get into a space where I just want to back away. Like, I need to take a step back. You have to be careful what you're absorbing, and
Mhm.
you have to be intentional about making sure that you don't let it negatively affect you mentally. So,
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. It can make you inadvertently go into isolation,
Mm.
and it can create anxiety, especially when you start looking at, like I said, stuff that's happening politically. Like, is this not? It's political, but it affects my health and my access to services. It
Mm.
affects my access to mental health services, and
Yeah.
so this stuff that's happening over here, and it like I said, it doesn't appear to be something that would be mentally affecting me or emotionally affecting me, but because of the other aspects of my life that it has the potential to affect, it takes a toll.
Yeah. Absolutely. Are you all familiar with Doechie's song "Anxiety"?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think that speaks to several young adults, and just people in general, really, to be honest with you. But I know she is a young adult, and so I think what she's saying is speaking to some of what young adults may be experiencing in 2025, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, cool. So we are coming close to the end of our conversation, but one more thing that we all kind of chatted about prior to the broadcast was kind of the fallout of the American dream, right? The
Hmm.
American dream is, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna get this job, you're going to get married and have children and have the house with the picket fence and the dog and go on the annual family vacations and so on and so forth, right?
They sold us this dream.
They really did.
They
And I
sold us
trusted
this
them.
dream.
Y'all
That
bought it.
And I
you
trusted
stay out
them.
of trouble,
Y'all
don't do
trusted them.
drugs, go to school, get the good job, and then you're gonna be able to retire. You're gonna have the house, and you're gonna be able to live a good life. And now I'm worried about I'm not gonna have Social Security, my retirement gonna get ate up. Like, am I gonna be able to survive? And then they want to increase the retirement age, and it's just like, what did I do all of this for?
Literally. And it's
It's
just like
like, what was the point?
groceries, just to add to your list, groceries. Like,
The list goes
literally,
on.
literally back then, $200, you can do a whole Thanksgiving dinner. Like nowadays,
They got the
$200.
cheap rent. They got the good interest rates. And it's just like now I was looking at something that came across my timeline today that was saying that in order to afford a house in Florida, you need to, as a single person, you need to make at least 125,000.
Mhm. That is
What?
very believable.
Living ain't cheap.
What?
At
And
all.
I don't think it's not it's not okay for them to say, oh, because we started taking care of ourselves, and not just mental health, but like taking care of our physical health, so now we're living longer. Oh, they're living longer. Oh, we're gonna make them work longer.
Right.
No, you're not. Who said that?
Right.
Like, who agreed to that? That's not what we agreed to do. We did all the things. We followed the formula, and now it's just like following the formula didn't help at all.
Hmm.
So I shouldn't be in my 30s worried about retirement. Pensions are so few and far between now.
They are.
Um, that is crazy to me. That used to be the norm. You get you a good job, you get you a pension, and by 50, 60, you about to go start traveling the world. You living the life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the reality anymore. And this, I think the anxiety inducing part of it is we don't know what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as we're sitting here, even in this year, everything is changing.
Mhm.
So we can't plan for what we don't know is going. Like, we don't know what we're planning for.
Mm-hmm.
My little salary right now ain't gonna take care of me 20, 30 years from now. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed
Right.
to do with that?
It's a lot. It is a lot. I will definitely give you that. Miss Potter, who is down in Miami, she said hello. Yes, it's very true and very well explained. Thanks. I got to shout out Miss Jeanette, who joined us as well, who is also in Miami Gardens. But Jokeetra says that there are programs and resources available. So yes, there are, but with this current leadership, stuff is getting rolled back every day. So get it while you can. That's all I'm gonna say. Get it while you can. Um, let's see. Felicia, she said that used to be the goal. Yes, Miss Neo Soul, and now boomers encouraging pushing the retirement age. Yeah.
I'm not working till I'm 70, 80 something. I'm not doing it.
Me neither.
And if my grandparents were living, I wouldn't allow them to do it either. My parents are not going to be working until they 70, 80 something. It's not gonna happen.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
No.
So y'all need to be saving and investing. Steven said, yes, the formula has changed. Denise, thank you for being here. She said, whoo, I would be 56 this year. I never dreamed I would be in this type of struggle. I watched Hallmark and dreamed, but ended up with a disaster. Wow. Chris Davis, the whole game has evolved. Thank you, Chris. Felicia, and the slow growth of salaries compared to the faster growth of cost of living. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And we not going to talk about the disparity in like the gaps, the wealth gap, just like culturally. It should be, because we, like, Black women are the fastest growing educated demographic. So the wealth gap should be closing, and it's not, because they keep changing all of these things.
They keep raising the bar.
Yeah, like what you said, do this, we started doing this. and you were just like, oh no.
It's too many of them. It's too many of them.
Like, what can we do to shake it up again?
Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so lots of comments coming in. Donda, we have to use our gifts and talents to help us with a better way of life. Agreed. Jokeetra agreed. Better get it while you can. Those programs that she was talking about. Denise, she said, my hope is built on Christ, a solid rock. I have a Christian father. Thank God my parents were retired at 55. Ooh, blessing. So it's possible.
That's a dream.
Yes, wages have not kept up with inflation either. Absolutely. We got McKinley Wilson on. Hey, McKinley. He said, route your money right. Keep God first. Everything else will fall into place. Agreed. Kiki, these are legit concerns. The uncertainties we face as a society are diabolical. Great conversations, you guys. From Christopher, the wealth gap is a whole nother conversation. Yes, it is. Yes, and Felicia, moving the goal line. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They off the field. The goal line keep moving past the goal line. Okay, look, they keep moving it.
But that just means that we're doing something right.
Absolutely. Denise, I'm trying to hold on to my home. I'm not a six-figure earner. Wealth, as I understand now, must be earned through creating small business. Yeah. Gotta get that hustle on. Britt, an influencer makes more than a college grad. Listen, don't get me started with that. You got YouTubers making six figures around here.
Yeah, that's why we should have never, I hate to say it, followed the formula, because all we had to do was just set up a tripod. And if we started when we started college, we would have been set for life right now. We would have had the house, we would have had the car, we would have had everything, the house, the fence, everything. So.
Oh my goodness, yes. All right, and Denise wants to know, help, what programs? All right, so 7 and 8 figures. Yes. I feel all of that. All of that. Woo. All right. So yes, we have to as I think Donda mentioned, use our gifts and talents to help us with a better way of life. So if that is building community, one of the things that I have been talking about since the day after election last year is, building those communities, like connecting with the people that grow their own food, the folks that know how to make clothes, the folks that, know how to, do taxes. Yeah, all of the things, right? We need to be pooling these resources together and maybe even going back to bartering, right? Because things are becoming out of reach in terms of our ability to pay for rent, mortgage,
Oh Lord.
cars, clothes, food, all of this stuff. So we have got to be more creative, and we have got to kind of band together to make these things possible, right? So Felicia said, bring back the barter system. Britt said, I don't mind bartering. See, here we go. Look, eggs. Felicia said,
Eggs
eggs.
are crazy.
They are very popular right now.
Eggs are,
You get you a few chickens, you might have a business.
Listen,
Right.
listen,
Toilet
y'all
paper.
listen. My son, I don't know if he's still on here, but he wanted me to look into sending him some chickens to New York so he can get some eggs. I'm telling you, yes. So Denise, I would love to barter. I love to give and share. Love it. All right. Well, this has been a very robust conversation. I feel like we have covered all of the things that we said we wanted to, but I'm going to give you all, each one of you, an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you. Hold on, before you do, Britt said, I'm about to catch me a chicken at Walmart. you know. It said you could rent chickens. Lord have mercy. Not y'all renting the chickens.
Give me one of them rented chickens.
Right.
that's
Oh gosh. All right. We're gonna start with you, Mr. Austin. Give us some closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you.
Well, thank y'all for all hopping on. It's been really fun just talking and interacting with y'all. But my social media, Instagram is Austin.asap, ASVP, and then my LinkedIn as well with Austin-C.Hall 15. So thank you for being on. Hopefully I get to connect with y'all. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Austin. Appreciate you too. All right, Miss Junon, what you got for us? Closing remarks. Tell folks how they can connect with you.
Like Austin said, thank everybody for the support. I'm so glad we were able to bring on so many people. You can follow my personal Instagram at ju.non_. My business Instagram, help a sister out, MUA Juju on the beat, and my LinkedIn is my full name, Junon James. I hope to connect with some of you guys soon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Miss Brittney Burrell, tell the folks how they can connect with you and give us some parting words.
So everyone can find me on LinkedIn. And that's at the bottom of the screen. I would love to connect with everyone. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It's important. I agree. We need to get together and understand how everyone is a resource. Thankful for my cohort and them being my resource when I needed them. And that's what the line of work that we're in is about, us being resources for the community in that healthcare realm. So if y'all need us, this is how you get to reach us.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Listen, these are all rattlers on here, y'all. All rattlers.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Very proud of the Masters in Health Administration.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out to FAMU.
Shout out to FAMU.
Shout out
Yes.
to SOLAS.
Yes, yes, yes. So this was a great conversation. I hope the viewers have benefited from it. Let's please keep this conversation going. So share this link with someone that you think could benefit from it. For those of you that are new to Conversations with Nicole, I invite you to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole Facebook page, YouTube channel. You can follow the Facebook page. But we are live here Mondays and Wednesdays, focused on mental health and wellness in Black and brown communities. And so we have these types of conversations on a regular basis. So I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and get involved in the conversations like you have tonight. Y'all have been great. I love the engagement from the viewers. So again, hope this has benefited not only you all, my guests, but also the viewers. And if it has, just let us know in the comments if you don't mind. I see some folks is chiming in. All right. Best cohort. Yeah.
Right, fall 23.
All right. Awesome job, panelists. Yes. So proud of you all. Havana proud. Love it. Good job, graduates. Love it. All right. Denise, strike. McKinley, got some rattlers.
Get on
Great.
the rattlers.
Kiki, yes. Denise, thanks everyone. Rattlers, awesome conversation. Chris Davis, my sister giving some rattlers. Listen, the rattlers was in the house tonight. This was fantastic. Thank you, Joveline and Brittney. Good job. Thank you so very much. All right. Loved it. Thank you, Miss Potter. All right. So, yeah, this, concludes our conversation. Again, thank you all again for joining me and closing out Mental Health and Wellness Month. Let's continue to be kind to our minds, get those checkups from the neck up. Counseling is not a bad thing. It is actually very helpful and can get you, maybe help you work through some things that are really triggering and troubling for you. So a few more folks have commented. Stephen, awesome job. Truly enjoyed it. Thank you so much. All right, Gabrielle, strike, and strike again. Yes, love it. All right, wonderful. All right, good people. We're going to sign off, but y'all have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.